Well, the interviews just continue on the second day of Origins Game Fair here in Columbus, Ohio. And I had the distinct pleasure of talking with Gunter Eickert from good old Academy Games, who I have not interviewed anyone from Academy since like 2012. So it is awesome to sit down and chat.
You don't know how tough our lives have been without you in it. I mean, the joy has just drained from our lives.
From you, yes.
And he just brings, he's what I look forward to in the day. I've had to deal with watching his painfully bad videos.
See, now there you, okay, so you know me now. You do know me. He must be watching.
I'm full of bad dad jokes, too.
He must be watching the Daily Dope Monday through Fridays on YouTube, folks, live. You know it.
They're great.
Anyway, so let's chat a bit about some recently released games. Well, games are fairly new to me because I haven't stayed on top of what's going on with Academy. You got a completed Kickstarter that it was something completely different for you guys. Mm-hmm. And you got an upcoming Kickstarter that looks awesome.
Yep.
And is right up my alley. Mm-hmm. So first of all, why don't we talk about what came out fairly recently? Wasn't the latest game like Tudor?
Yeah, our latest game was Tudor, which is about a worker placement game set in King Henry VIII's court. This is a game where you are positioning your courtiers in his court, trying to gain position and power, and it has these awesome ring screens that you put plastic rings on it. And depending on what fingers you put rings on, it will upgrade your abilities. So it's a nice, great Euro-themed game.
Sure, and it's a little take that, yeah?
Yeah, it's a very cutthroat game. I mean, look, it's King Henry VIII, King Henry VIII's court. You're lucky if you come back with your head.
Right, it's court politics, of course. Very nice. Then for the strategy gamers and kind of war gamers out there, you had Vikings come out.
Yeah, that was
a couple of year ago?
Yeah, about 2 years ago. 878 Vikings. It won War Game of the Year. And it's just a fantastic team-based area control strategy game for 2 to 4 players. And it plays an hour. Anybody can play it. It's just a blast.
I'll tell you a story. I had 1812 Invasion of Canada. Did a review of that a while back. And loved it.
One in the series. I think that was 8 years ago.
It was. And we loved it. And I'm at Consim World out in Phoenix. Well, Tempe. And I had it with, and I said, hey, you guys got to play this. And, of course, these guys are all hex encounters, war gamers. We had a blast, and one of the guys sitting there, I'm not going to name his name, was a game designer, and he said, where can I get this game? And I'm like, dude, it's sold out. You cannot find this game. So he's like, I want to buy it from you. I said, well, I maybe. And he's like, because I want to steal the mechanics and work on some stuff. And I said, no, I'm not selling it to you then. But it was like, love it. It was great. It's like a nice intro war game, and Vikings is the same way. I bet Vikings is even better.
Each one is awesome in its own way.
Yeah.
They are 90% the same, but they introduce just enough new mechanics that it's a new strategy that you have to explore to win the game.
Right.
And that's what it's great. There's 4 games in the series.
Yeah, we got American Revolution, right?
Yep, and then the French Indian War was the newest one that came out at the same time as Vikings.
Okay.
And each of them adds a new layer of cool new mechanics that replaces some other ones, and that's what's given it such a love. Both the original game and 878 Vikings are award-winning. Right. And so it's not like a system that's just getting rehatched and recycled.
Academy's won some awards for quite a few of their titles. Let's be honest. You can pat yourself on the back a little.
We have a good pedigree. I mean, it's took many years of genetic research and breeding, but we're pretty happy with the latest product. Well, actually, now I have 2 kids. I think they're better than me.
Oh, I would hope. Aren't you supposed to think that? So let's change gears a little bit, because then you had a game that was very successful on Kickstarter that really kind of flips the script as far as Academy Games, and that is Agents of Mayhem.
Yeah, let me grab one of our prototype boxes. We just got our production copy in. This is not it. This is our prototype copy we have where we're interviewing. But Agents of Mayhem is this awesome 3D tactical games. I'm sure you'll get some cool pictures of it later.
Yep.
But there you're playing superheroes versus super villains. So think conflict of heroes with all the real world, real military training tactics with superpowers and building destruction. So yeah, that's pretty fun.
These multiple levels to the buildings, and you can destroy them.
Yeah, and you can climb them, you can go inside of them, take cover. It creates a more real, tactical experience.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, so you got an upcoming Kickstarter. I think it's coming soon.
Yeah,
Kickstarter.
July 16th.
July 16th.
50 years after the Apollo 11 launch that landed Americans on the moon.
And it is one small step.
Yes.
And why don't you show up the box?
This is our prototype box. Beautiful cover that kind of mimics the art style of the magazines of the day. And this is a team-based worker placement Euro game for 2 to 4 players about the Soviet versus USA race for the moon. And it's just a fantastic, there's no other worker placement game out there like it. You are playing on a team of 2 players, and each of you have your own different type of worker.
Yeah.
And you have to work together on how you're going to coordinate and place your workers on the worker placement spaces. There's no team-based worker placement. They're either fully cooperative or fully competitive.
Sure.
This is really the first of its time for such a well-used kind of mechanic. So we're really excited to introduce it.
I am hugely interested because one of my favorite PC games way back in the day was Buzz Aldrin's Race to Space.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. You had the U.S., the Soviets, and there's a fantastic book out there called Rocket Men, which talks about all of this stuff, but it's for Apollo 8. It's for the Apollo 8 mission, which was not supposed to go to the moon.
Nope.
But they thought that the Russians were they're going to get there first. We got to do this.
And it could have really, that's one thing great about our games. This is a fun, just mechanically fun game, but it also teaches you about the history.
Right.
And the Soviets they could have really made it to the moon before the U.S. And it took an extreme, dedicated, and great effort by the U.S. people who were working on this to actually beat them there.
Yeah.
So, and they pushed it to where they're risking their own lives.
Yes.
And they're, truly brave, heroic men.
When Apollo 8 took off, they were like, we don't know if we'll ever come back.
Yeah.
And that was actually Apollo 11 too. They were like, well, maybe we'll get to the moon. Maybe we'll step foot on it, and maybe we won't.
Yeah.
But yeah, this looks really, really interesting. And of course, you're looking at B-roll right now of it. It's for 4 players.
Prototype.
Right, of course. It's going to be for 4 players?
2 to 4 players can play 1v1, 1v2, or full 2v2.
Excellent.
Yep.
And once that successfully funds, because obviously we know it will.
Oh, we've had more interest for this game than any of our releases for the past 3 years.
I believe. Well, I mean, there's a lot of coverage of the 50th anniversary as well.
Yeah, and it's just such a cool game.
Yeah, it looks very
the
unique.
The mechanics are, there's familiar mechanics like the worker placement, but it mixes it with a lot of new, unique mechanics that have not been done before. So,
I have to ask, so can things go really badly?
Oh, yeah. Missions, that's what we do at Academy Games. We do not sugarcoat.
Right.
We talk about the bad as much about the good. Right. So missions can go bad. We talk about the missions that fail, the animals that died in space to see, and it's tragic, but we have to talk about it, and we have to honor the people and the animals that they sacrifice themselves, both not always their lives, but their time and their families, and all for a very important goal, which is just to see how far can man go.
Right.
And we're going to see
how far can we push the boundaries.
We can go in board games.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gunter, any other titles that you might want to mention? Are there any games that you think from Academy, or say a game from Academy that you think deserves a little more love, that maybe flew out under some people's radars?
You know what? I think that 1754 would be that game for me.
Okay.
It is. I love that game in the Birth of America series, but it definitely does not get as much attention because it came out at the same time as 878 Vikings, which they're both fantastic games,
right?
And I'm saying they're both equally great games.
Sure.
But Vikings is a much more popular theme, and so the French and Indian War did not get as much attention from a lot of people who had choice. Vikings or French and Indian.
Sure, right.
And it's such a fun game that adds some real... how both sides can make alliances with the Native Americans. And Native Americans are just popping up around the board all the time throughout the game. Creates a whole new kind of strategy that you're not just going after control points, but you're also trying to go after these alliances with Native Americans. There's not one other game in the Birth of a series is as important to have that alliance as in the French-Indian War.
Right.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, other than our Kickstarter, July 16th, make sure to check it out at academygames.com or BGG.
You'll see news on the Gaming Gang. You'll see a news piece on the Daily Dope. You know it.
And the last thing I want, we were announced at Origins here that we're doing a Stellaris 4X board game.
I love Stellaris.
Yeah, I'm a huge 4X fan I play all the 4X board games, love Stellaris, the video game, and we're creating something that is going to really take people that love that kind of game by storm. Because
Excellent.
Each game you can play games that play in 2 hours,
sure,
but you can keep playing your same empire over multiple games.
Nice.
So it's going to have a nice experience where I don't have enough time to normally get these games to the table. You can get this 2-hour game to the table. Then, usually when I'm done playing an 8-hour game, I'm like, oh, why do I have to stop playing? I want to keep playing.
Sure.
This, you get to keep playing as long as you want.
It'll have some legacy aspects.
Yeah, it's legacy in terms of that your empire continues. There's no destructible. It's not. It's not a one-time play game.
Right.
It is. You can play as many times as you want. Nothing is destructible. It's completely resettable if you want to. But you get to build a story with this empire, building a legacy. And we're really excited to introduce people more about that at like Gen Con and other conventions over the year.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Gunter, thank you so much for taking some time out. It's very busy over at the Academy booth. You actually came to the demo area, so it'd be quieter.
Yeah, we have these great big towers with all of our games displayed around it.
Right.
So, yeah. Check us out either at Origins, we'll be at BGG Con, at Gen Con, we might be at PAX Unplugged, and some other cons.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for watching my Origins Game Fair 2019 coverage. If you'd like to see more convention coverage, click right here. And if you'd like to see a somewhat random video from the Gaming Gang channel, including recordings of the live Monday through Friday episodes of The Daily Dope, click right here. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe.